The grand halls of the Andromedian Institute of Advanced Sciences buzzed with quiet tension. In Lecture Hall 7, glowing seats filled with students from across the galaxy, creatures of light, gas, metal, and flesh, all gathered to witness something that had broken the minds of scientists for over 1,000 years. Professor Thara stood calmly, her crystalline form shining under the dome lights. She raised her hand, and a massive holographic equation appeared in the air, strange symbols twisting through space, breaking the rules of logic. This was the Velar paradox, a mystery no one had solved. The room felt frozen, every eye focused on the impossible math. In the back row sat Marcus Chen, a 19-year-old human from Earth. He looked ordinary, almost ignored by the rest. But inside his mind, something clicked. While others saw confusion, Marcus saw something different. And the galaxy was about to feel it. For 3 long months, Marcus Chen had sat quietly at the back of every lecture, never raising his hand, never speaking a word. The first human exchange student at the Andromedian Institute, he was seen as a curiosity, more of a symbol than a serious scholar. Some thought he couldn't follow the alien mathematics. Others believed he was simply too shy. Whispers followed him everywhere. A human, here. But Marcus didn't seem to notice. He just watched, listened, and took notes on his small, Earth-made tablet. Today, as the Velar paradox hovered in the center of the hall, impossible and mocking, Marcus finally looked up. Something about the equation didn't sit right with him. His fingers paused over the screen, then slowly he raised his hand. The lecture hall fell into stunned silence. Marcus Chen, the human who never spoke, was about to change everything. All eyes turned toward Marcus as he stood up, his voice calm but uncertain. "I think there's an error in the basic assumption," he said, pointing at the floating equation. A ripple of shock passed through the room. Professors stared in disbelief. Dr. Zixian, the gaseous dean of mathematics, flickered with visible irritation. "This equation has been verified by 47 star systems," he replied sharply. But Marcus didn't back down. He stepped toward the hologram, eyes locked on the twisted math. "You're treating consciousness like a fixed number," he said. "On Earth we learned it's quantum, observer-dependent." The professors exchanged confused glances. This was not their math. This was something new. Marcus tapped on his AI tablet and began entering calculations. His words were strange, his logic unfamiliar, but it made sense. Equations that never worked before began shifting. The mistake wasn't in the numbers. It was in the way the galaxy had always thought. "Doctor." Zixian's form darkened with what looked like anger. "Mr. Chen, you are challenging centuries of proven science," he warned. But Marcus kept walking, calm and focused. He stood beside the glowing equation, his Earth tablet glowing with fresh numbers. "You've been using classical math to solve a quantum problem," he said, pointing at the equation's core. "You need to shift it into Hilbert space and apply observer effect corrections." The alien audience stared in confusion. These terms were unknown, even dangerous. No one had ever dared to rewrite the Velar paradox. It wasn't just bold, it was unthinkable. Yet the symbols in the air began reacting to Marcus's new input. Slowly, pieces started aligning, variables dancing into place. The impossible equation was responding. Around him, alien minds wrestled with fear and wonder. What Marcus was doing wasn't just different, it was a direct challenge to everything they believed was true. As Marcus continued entering his calculations, the equation began to shift faster. Variables that had clashed for centuries now flowed together like water. Gasps filled the hall. "This is elementary quantum theory," Marcus explained almost casually. "We figured this out in the 21st century. It's part of basic science. Education on Earth. Professor Keelthara stared at him, stunned. You teach this to children? Marcus nodded. Yeah, it's high school stuff. We cover quantum mechanics, relativity, and consciousness studies by age 14. Otherwise, how would kids understand their phones? Silence dropped over the hall like a gravity field. To the galaxy, these were holy mysteries. To Marcus, they were just notes from science class. The realization hit the room hard. Earth wasn't just different. It might be ahead, far ahead. And this quiet human teenager had just shattered the wall, holding back galactic science, all with something he learned before college. The holographic equation shimmered as Marcus entered, his final set of corrections. Each number, each symbol he added, seemed to unlock another piece of the puzzle. Ancient mathematical conflicts began to vanish. The Velar paradox, unsolvable for 1,000 years, was cracking open. Alien students leaned forward, their bodies flickering, pulsing, or glowing with disbelief. Some recorded the moment, others simply stared, stunned. You've been trying to describe color using only black and white, Marcus said, watching the variables align. But consciousness isn't fixed. It's fluid. It observes. It changes reality. The last part of the equation shifted. For a breathless second, the entire room froze. Then it happened. The equation resolved completely, clean and elegant, glowing in perfect balance. A complete, functional solution. The Velar paradox was no longer a paradox. It was a solved equation. And the galaxy, watching in silent awe, realized that everything they knew was about to change forever. The moment the equation settled into a perfect solution, chaos exploded. Alien students gasped, chittered, vibrated, or glowed, each in their species' way of expressing shock. A few fainted. One mechanical being short-circuited. Energy fields flickered wildly as the impossible stared them in the face. Professor Keelthara's crystalline body began to hum at high frequencies, somewhere between panic and pure awe. Do you understand what you've just done? Dr. Zixian demanded, his gaseous form pulsing erratically. Marcus looked around, confused by the reaction. I solved the homework problem, he replied. The entire room shook with disbelief. This isn't homework, Professor Thara snapped. This equation has limited our entire civilization's growth for millennia. But Marcus only blinked. To him, it had been just another strange formula. Around him, alien professors and students struggled to accept what had happened. The impossible had been solved by a teenage human, and nothing would ever be the same again. Word of Marcus's breakthrough spread like a supernova through the galaxy. The Galactic Science Council immediately called an emergency meeting. Leaders from dozens of species gathered, their holograms flickering with excitement and fear. Marcus still sat quietly, slowly realizing the weight of what he had done. His simple solution could unlock faster than light travel beyond any limits the galaxy had known. Expansion, technology, even the fate of entire civilizations hung in the balance. Alien experts scrambled to understand his Earth-based ideas, struggling to keep up with concepts taught to teenagers on one small planet. Meanwhile, Marcus felt a mix of pride and disbelief. He had only wanted to pass his class. Now he was the center of a galactic revolution. The universe was watching, and everything was about to change forever. As the alien professors argued and debated, Marcus smiled and said something no one expected. We teach this in high school. The room fell silent, stunned by the simplicity of his words. For the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, these ideas were centuries away, if not impossible. Yet here was a teenager from Earth saying it was just basic knowledge for 14-year-olds. Dr. Zixian's gaseous form pulsed with disbelief. Professor Keelthara looked shaken. If Earth's educational system was this advanced, what else had they underestimated? The realization spread like wildfire. The galaxy had not just misunderstood human intelligence, they had underestimated it deeply. A primitive planet, by galactic standards, was teaching concepts far beyond even the greatest minds of alien worlds. The sentence echoed in the hall, terrifying and awe-inspiring. High school. While the galaxy scrambled to grasp the breakthrough, Marcus remained calm and casual. Surrounded by panicked professors and flashing holograms, he asked with a grin, "So when's the next assignment due?" The tension in the room broke with laughter and disbelief. A teenager from a small blue planet had just rewritten the rules of faster-than-light travel and galactic science without even trying. Earth's basic education had shaken the foundation of civilizations that had ruled the stars for millennia. As the Galactic Science Council prepared to change everything, Marcus only wanted to pass his physics class. The galaxy was changing. Fast, but Marcus Chen was just getting started. And somewhere deep in the stars, a new chapter for humanity had begun.